Time to answer your questions that you've asked in the last live stream that I didn't get a chance to answer. I have a lot of them. These answers are going to really help you guys that are wondering about the questions you have in beekeeping. And so if you hear these questions and you think, I'm not sure if that will ever happen to me, it will. Hey everybody, David Burns, good to be with you today. Got a special announcement. We have a special live stream coming up on July the 17th where we're going to be giving away $1,000 value of giveaways. So you want to be sure and be on that live stream. We're hoping to get 1,000 concurrent viewers that night. And that will be awesome. This will be the 1,000th video that I've made since I started YouTube in 2008 on July 17th. That video itself will be video number 1,000, $1,000 giveaways, and hopefully 1,000 people watching the live stream. That'll be fun. So make a special note. Here's the link right here. I want you to be there. Let's answer these questions that you asked me from my live stream. Sorry about the bird noises. I live out in the country where birds just have a heyday around my property. Do you still give away 30-minute Zooms? Yeah, on our live streams, that's on the spin the wheel to win something. And we do have a couple of spots, so it just depends if it lands on that or not. That's a lot of fun. I've done, I think, 3 of those, and people have really enjoyed them. Any tips for staying cool while working hives in July and August? I've made videos about that. I just made a video last week, I think, about how to keep your hives cool in the summertime. And I'll leave a link right here or in the description below for those videos. I installed my second package of bees, then checked a week later. I didn't see any eggs, so I was a little concerned. I took a frame with eggs in case they needed to raise a queen. What do you think? Yeah, anytime you're queenless, if you have another hive where you have a frame of eggs that they can raise a queen from, that's always a good idea. It takes longer than if you buy a mated queen, but it'll get the job done. It takes about 30 days for that to happen. Are you still doing coffee time or just answering questions left over from the live stream? I know your schedule is busy. I made a video yesterday. It's very popular. By the way, I wanted to show you right here about this video. As the making of this video, that video has been out 24 hours and it's already gotten over 13,000 views. And I wanted to show you guys right here. Notice what YouTube told me about this video. It said that you guys have been watching it longer and that it's because of you guys watching it longer or all the way through that YouTube decides to send it to more beekeepers. So I hope that maybe when you watch my videos that you'll watch them all the way through, because that will cause YouTube to send them out to more beekeepers. That way we can help more beekeepers. But in that video, I do have a coffee time. So I did make a coffee time 24 hours ago. And a lot of you love my coffee time. It's when I make a beekeeping video, and at the end of it, I talk about life and encouraging things to encourage you guys. All right, another question. 2x12 is cheaper than 1x12 at Menards. What are your thoughts on making deep equipment from 1.5 thick lumber? More insulation in winter? Yeah, it will be heavier to lift though. That has been tried by beekeepers in the past, old time beekeepers of long ago. And I'll be honest with you, the reason I don't like the idea, for me personally, I like all my beekeeping equipment to be interchangeable with a standard Langstroth dimension. Once you start making it out of thicker wood, then some of the things that you normally buy may not fit anymore, and you may have issues with that. So that's why I kind of stay away from that. All right. Hey, David, my hive had a capped queen cell for several weeks. It never hatched. Today I took it off and opened it up. There was a regular bee that died inside. It's so strange. Had it happened to you? Thanks. I've had that happen, and usually it's from an intercast. And an intercast is when the bees will start to raise a fertilized egg or a fertilized larvae. They'll start to feed it royal jelly past day 3 so that they can turn it into a queen. But it either doesn't get fed enough royal jelly at that point, something happens, so it doesn't quite develop into a queen, and it's kind of a worker. It's between, it's an intercast. It sounds like that's what happened. How long would you say a virgin queen takes from hatching till laying an egg? Always takes about 30 days where you can start seeing eggs and some larvae. Would a cedar hive maybe deter unwanted mites or beetles, or is cedar no good for bees? Cedar doesn't hurt bees. You know, cedar is fine. Cedar is something that we say it's a type of wood that insects don't really get into it as much. They will, but because of the smell, maybe the insects stay away. It has no effect on mites or beetles, none at all. How long can you hold a queen in her California cage? In the very top of a big hive. I bought one extra, wanted to use it in a couple of weeks. Okay, so you got a queen in a California mini cage. You're going to keep her in there for a couple of weeks. If the queen can get up there around her, may not be a good idea. But if you can put a queen excluder, keep the queen down below, they might feed her through that cage. That's kind of like a banking situation. You might get away with it. It's a little iffy. Sometimes their pheromones kind of interfere with each other and they might kill the one in the cage. But it's designed for that to happen. I think it'll work okay for you. All right, Troy, do I need to worry about when they spray for mosquitoes? Will they kill my bees? Absolutely. Anything that's going to kill a mosquito, if that spray gets in or around your beehive, it's going to kill bees. And you need to take the precautions to try to cover your bees up before they spray. A blanket over them, a wet blanket works good. Somehow close your hive off at night before they spray so your bees aren't flying. I have a hive with 2 honey supers, with one fully capped and the other not so. I don't plan on extracting from for another month and a half. Should I keep the fully capped super on or take it off? You can keep those on provided your hive is large population, covering up all that good honey that's capped over. They'll take care of it. You're fine to leave it on there. Hey, Rich, I've signed up on the Beak Check listing my location. Are farmers required to look at any resources before spraying fields, or is this strictly voluntary on their part? Can it be enforced? I'm going to warn you that it is a great idea. Here in Illinois, it's called Drift Watch, and you can register your bees so crop dusters will be warned on their GPS that they're about to spray near a beehive. In a perfect world, that will work. I have a good relationship, obviously, with the farmer that farms around my property here. We have a very good working relationship. He and I talk. He tells me what he's going to be doing, what he's spraying. And so that's better for me than trying to just hope that some crop duster that maybe they're hiring from another state may not care, may not look, and may not care. I don't know. I'm not making accusations. I'm just saying I've had beekeepers tell me that it has worked and some said it doesn't work. I do know that these things are very hard to enforce. Farmers have a lot of freedom and a lot of leadway to do the things that they need to do to, farm. And so it's going to be hard to enforce. Does using green drone comb by area beekeepers in the same area reduce the population of breeding drones significantly? Well, I made a video of a hive that I'm following, a package of bees that I'm following. And so we put an empty frame, just the frame itself, no foundation. They made all drone comb in there. I froze it. And then I had a green drone comb in there. They put drones on half of it. And so I still see drone cells scattered about. So even though you're using green drone comb, it doesn't mean that they're not going to put drones elsewhere in that hive. You'll see other frames in there with drones on them. I split a hive with brood of all ages and went back 9 days later, and I saw a peanut with a bee coming in and out. Should I worry? Because that is all I saw. Thank you. That means that out of that peanut came a queen, a virgin queen, probably worker bees going in and out. It could be the virgin queen going in and out, but likely it's just worker bees getting ready to tear that down. You need to keep an eye on your hive, like go back in a week or two, make sure you got good brood, eggs and larvae. Hello, David. How do I get my bees to cap the honey if they're taking a long time? I checked 1 month and the next thinking it was close. There was no change. If it's real humid outside, it's hard for bees to dry out the honey because it's so much humidity. The ambient humidity kind of gets in the hive too. If it's 90% humid, 75% humid outside, it's going to be humid in the hive too. And it's just going to take them longer to dry it out. Got to be patient. I have a queen cell that's 7 days old in the queenless hive. Do you think the hive will be okay later this year? I have no way of knowing if that queen cell is going to hatch in another 8 or 9 days, probably. Then it's likely you'll have to check back on her, make sure she's laying good. Can you speak a little on honey-bound hives and correcting? Honey-bound hives just means that the bees are going crazy bringing nectar in, they're storing it, and it's usually because your queen isn't laying enough. She's not a good layer, or she's not really getting around the frames good, or the foragers are coming back and just bringing in a heavy nectar flow. And you'll just have to balance that. If you have to, put some undrawn drawn foundation without anything in it, swap that out if you've got some of that. Or maybe you have to take a couple of honey-bound, nectar-bound frames out, spin them in your extractor, give the queen room to lay. Can a queen lay a bad pattern the first year? Yeah. The queen, it doesn't mean that if she's a year old or a month old, she could be a bad queen. She could be poorly mated. A good laying queen can last you 2 to 3 years. A poorly mated queen won't last you long at all. So yeah, to answer your question, you got to watch their brood pattern. All right. Thanks for all your knowledge. Honey, we harvested, tested at 14.5 moisture level on the refractometer. Can honey be too dry? Refractometers are cool. You can pick them up off Amazon. Make sure they're for honey and not wine, but they have a little, put a little drop on there, look in there, it tells you what the moisture level is. I love those. 14.5 is very dry, not a problem. It might be kind of thicker, and it might have maybe a propensity to crystallize faster, but no, 14.5 is just really, really dry honey. Are metal queen excluders better than plastic? My bees won't go through the plastic one, even though I let them draw the honey super out halfway before putting the excluder on. We are in a strong flow. I've not really seen a difference. I only use plastic and it works out good for me, but I understand what you're saying. I don't think there could be. It could be working out for your hive. Your bees just may not like it. If you suspect that, put a metal one on there. First hive ever found new queen post-swarm and marked her on Sunday. All 10 super frames, full capped honey, took out 2 for just in case. How long can I keep it in the freezer? You can keep honey frames in the freezer forever. Yeah, and then take them out when you need them. Won't change the honey a bit. We caught a swarm a couple of months ago, and several times now the queen has left the hive and was found walking on the ground. Is this an indication of a virus? Well, queens can become infected with the virus just like bees do, like deformed wing or something. But I'm probably thinking she's being ran out of the hive. Queens usually don't leave the hive if they're mated like that. So something is wrong. I think they might be trying to get her out of there, raise a new queen maybe. Keep an eye on that. Why don't you use inner covers? So how do you vent your hive out the top? With an inner cover and notch, I still get water droplets inside my top cover. You talking about winter time? I don't think you get moisture in the summer, do you? I use a Winter Be Kind board that I invented. I put that on in the late fall, and that way, or winter, and that way it absorbs the moisture. I don't need an inner cover. It has a ventilation notch in it. Hi, David. I won a nuke of Russian bees in Abilene when I was down there in Texas speaking. Congratulations. Do I have to do anything special for them, or is it the same as for all bees? Well, that's a good question. If you're new to beekeeping, here's how that works. Honeybees are known as Apis mellifera, and they come from different, ancestry. And we do have bees in the United States that are known as Well, they're from different parts of the world. And you have Italian bees, you have Russian bees. They're still Apis mellifera. It just means they're from a different place. So no, there won't be any problem at all. Nothing. Russian bees are a little different sometimes than traditional European bees. They have different characteristics, but no. Proceed as if they are just a regular honeybee. You'll be fine. I've ran Russian bees before. Hi, David. I have a split where all the queens that have been raised in multiple attempts leaving the split queenless. Do you know why? Or how do you solve it? Well, that happened to me. Have you not been watching my videos? I documented that this year, and you need to go back and look at those videos. And I just kept throwing mated queens in there. Finally, it took. So you just have to keep trying. You'll get it to work. New hive this year, I've been feeding 1-to-1 to stimulate comb building. However, as soon as the comb gets built, it gets filled with nectar. Queen doesn't have room to lay. Should I stop feeding? Yeah, I think I would. No need to just fill it up with nectar. Let them go out. If you got resources out there, let them go out there and bring that nectar in. I have a top entrance and hardly see any bees using it. Should I remove it or can it help with ventilation? I don't like top entrances in the bee season. I'm afraid robbers could go in and out the top. You can put a little quarter, like a 25-cent or a dime under your top cover and let there be a little ventilation. Help the bees. Bees are pretty good at keeping their hive ventilated. Bought 2 nukes on May the 30th. Was told they were treated for mites. Is there a time I need to automatically treat again or just test and treat as needed? Test and treat as needed. Absolutely. Test every maybe 21 to 30 days. You need to do a mite test. See if it's going uphill, and then you need to treat accordingly. How soon after installing a queen do I check to see if she is released? Normally they'll release her within 24 to 48 hours. I'd give it 10 days. That way you can evaluate eggs and larvae, maybe even cap brood. With putting 3-pound package of bees with queen in a brand new hive, what should the priority be? Mistakenly got a package instead of a nuke. It's about the same. I wouldn't worry about it. You install your bees, keep checking them every 2 weeks, see how they're doing, giving them room to grow. Christopher from Richmond, Missouri. I just pulled off top feeders from my hive and it had comb full of honey in on the top feeders and was wondering what would be a good sign that they're ready for supers. That's a good sign they're ready for supers. I just made a video yesterday. I gave you a good tip. If you see white wax on top of your frames, it means that they need a super. If you see that, they needed a super 2 weeks ago. So get on it. What's the best cure for a really hot hive? I got stung over 50 times through my jeans on one inspection. Wow, that's really bad. If they sting through your jeans, that's a mean hive. They followed me 400 yards and I had to get into the woods to get them to leave me alone. Many people would tell you to kill that colony entirely. That's right. Many people fear mean hives and what they can do. And so that's a length of a football field. I mean, that's 4 football fields. That's crazy. A lot of people think, oh no, are they Africanized or the European? And my opinion on that now has changed that if they're mean, right? They're mean. And some European bees can be just as mean as the Africanized bees, or meaner, actually. So you got to watch this. And so you might call your state bee inspector, see if you need to destroy the colony for the safety of yourself and everybody else. Or you could replace the queen. Yes, I understand that's an option, but you're working with scary stuff here. That many bees that are mad can be dangerous. Be safe. I started a hive with a screen bottom board. Do you in Illinois cover the winter, in the winter? Oh, by the way, some of you don't know where I live. So every time I go speak somewhere, they said, oh, I thought you lived in Georgia. I thought you were in Canada. I thought you lived in California. No, I live, and I say this all the time, I live in Illinois. I live in central Illinois. Illinois, people, that's where I live. So in Illinois, I have a mixture of solid bottom boards, winter bottom boards in my studio yard here. I got 20 hives here. And so I think that as long as you don't have a heavy wind hitting that screen bottom board, you got a windbreak or something, probably be all right. Hey, Marianne Livingston. One of my nukes raised a queen. Need her for a queenless hive. Moved a frame to a 10-frame box placed between two medium brood boxes with newspaper on top and bottom. What do you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay, you're trying to introduce a queen via newspaper. That might work. It might work. You're going to have to tell me, because to me it seems too quickly to do that. I'd rather introduce her in a queen cage behind queen candy. So I'm not sure. Try it. Let us know how that works. David, can capped queen cells on the bottom and middle of the frame be super seeder cells if the old marked queen is still there and laying, or are those swarm cells? If they're on the bottom, they're swarms. You're lucky to find the old queen, put her in a cage, and detour the swarm that's about to happen. Find a way to stop it. If I put a frame of eggs and larvae in a queenless hive from a different hive, how long will it take for them to make a queen? It will take them 16 days to make a queen once you introduce eggs, and then it's going to take them about another week for her to get mated, maybe another week before you see eggs. Alrighty. Hi, David. I tried grafting for the first time on the 24th. I had 16 out of 20 capped queen cells. Can I place capped cells in nukes when I make them, or should I make them make the nukes a day ahead when we add queens? I like to know when I'm going to move my queen cells that get 13 days old. 13 days old from when the eggs laid. So I will take those and I'll put them in my mating nuke. I will make up my mating nukes the same day that I'm going to put a cell in there, about 4 hours before. That's what I do. Hey, David, let's see. Now have 5 hives, 2 swarms, and 3 nukes and 10 frame singles. My first swarm is exploding. Can I put full boxes of honey from swarm onto the nuke? She's 5 deeps tall, less working height. Yeah, that's fine to do that. You can move honey frames around, like honey boxes around like that. That's fine. Hello from Northwest Oklahoma. Recently did a walkaway split 3 weeks ago. How long should I wait to inspect for eggs and larvae? I don't want to damage the queen cells. I'm seeing bees bringing in pollen. Yeah, if they're going to make a queen and you don't want to damage that cell, you need to wait at least 3 weeks, because the queen cell is going to be a queen cell until day 16 when she emerges. Be careful. Did you do any more testing with the queen container versus excluder for honey production this year? Saw that last year's video and thinking about buying 2 deep containers. No, I didn't do that this year, except once. I did it when I caught that swarm. I used it for that. But so far, all my queens are not getting up in my supers. And I don't use queen excluders. So I'm having pretty good luck keeping them out. If I had a problem keeping them out, I would do that. All right. Hi, David. Second year of beak. Still struggling to find my queen. Watching all your videos, I noticed that the bees circle the queen. That's called a retinue. But don't get on top of her to hide her. Is that a correct observation? It depends. Sometimes you pull a frame up and she'll walk underneath a bunch of bees out of sight. But normally she'll walk around laying eggs and she has a retinue that follows her. A circle. Yep. Hello from coastal North Carolina. My bees are bearding really bad. How can I tell if they are hot or getting ready to swarm? Bearding does not indicate a swarm. It indicates hot weather. Yes, that is not a swarm indication, other than they're crowded, but you might be beyond that season. No, don't worry about that. Bearding is hot. It's not swarming. David, did you try any good barbecue in Texas? I did. They took me out to eat at a very fine barbecue place. The whole group went there, and that was a hoot, and I loved it. I couldn't stop eating it. It was that good. How long should I wait to inspect hive that isn't queen right? Checked my hive this Tuesday to feed and give pollen patties, and 2 of the 3 capped cells weren't open. They're growing a new queen. Like I said, I've answered this question a lot today, but you need to wait a couple of 3 weeks before you really start getting in there much and inspecting how your queen's doing. Hey, Gary, I have 4 hives this year. 3 started from swarms. 1 started from a nuke. I found my first hive beetle in the nuke hive. Is it possible the beetle came as a passenger in the nuke? It doesn't matter. Where do you live? Do you say? I don't see where you live, but yeah, beetles are everywhere. They fly, what, 10 or 12 miles from one hive to the next, these small hive beetles. Yeah, I know you're wanting to think that you don't have any in your area. You may not. It could have come in your nucleus. Beetle traps, oil traps between frames. I made a lot of videos on that. Just stay ahead of the game. Don't let them get too far ahead on you. I saw capped queen cells a week ago. What are my next steps? Wait 10 days. Wait 2 weeks. Go back and see if she's out laying eggs. That's a repeating question, isn't it? Nobody knows. Even though I've taught, I get a hobby horse. I've made so many videos, nearly 1,000, and I teach all the time on the whole anatomy of the queen. Egg is laid, she emerges 16 days later, 5 days later, she goes out and mates. A week later, she's probably a good egg layer. The timing is really simple. That information is available everywhere. So get that in your think tank. That's critical thinking skills to know the timing of queens. Yeah. How much syrup feeding at one shot? I put a gallon on at one time. Is it wrong to let the feeder go dry? How often do I check them? I put shade, get my hives, and have constant water source. If, there's a whole discussion about how long you should feed your bees, but I'm not going to feed mine unless I'm drawing out comb. I'm going to let them go out and they're really hitting the clover hard now, the white Dutch clover. Use information like that to help you decide if you really do need to keep feeding your bees. Now, friends, I want to share with you that I'm excited that we have our classes on sale, 50% off starting July the 4th. That's this coming weekend. So we'll have them do on sale 4th through the 6th. This weekend, if you want to get my online beekeeping courses at half price, love to see you do that. It sounds like some of these questions that a lot of you need to get educated in beekeeping. It would make your life so much easier. I think a lot of people think they know a lot about beekeeping. They get into it having watched YouTube videos or something. Then they get into it and they see things that they haven't seen on a YouTube video. So I strongly recommend that you take one of my courses. It's going to answer 90% of these questions right here are answered in my ultimate beekeeping course. Half price is going to be a lifesaver for a lot of you. So check that out this weekend, 50% off. That'd be so nice, okay? Now, if you want to see the video that I made that I referred to, I opened a hive up and I taught you a lot of good tips, and this video has really taken off, and it's very popular already after 24 hours. Here's the video right here where I show you that I kind of waited too late to do some stuff. Check it out. I'll see you guys over there.